Last season, I took off from Trio FNCS. The reasoning was I had my sister's wedding and one of my best friend's weddings, and so that overlapped with FNCS, but I decided to not play Trio FNCS again, which I'm going to explain in this video and talk about what we're doing instead. And honestly, this might help some of you guys out too. Before we hop into it, please consider using code JivanTV in the Fortnite item shop, or at least make sure you're using somebody's code because it helps us out a ton. Without further ado, let's get into this video. So to start out, I just want to explain content versus competitive. Content creation is a much more stable career. You make good content, you get steady views, you have steady income. But you could be a top competitive player and slip up in one event and go down from a $10,000 salary to a $1,000 salary. That's a 1,000% decrease over 3 months' time of practice. You see what I mean? The only way it's really worth it to be a competitive player alone and not make any content is if you're like the top 3 player in your region. If you make like top 10 every single FNCS, then obviously you're going to be making good money. But even then, it's such a waste to not make content as a competitive player. Anybody will say that. I've heard Aussie Antics talk about it multiple times. It's just a waste not to put time into content as a competitive player. It's almost like the NFL having football games and not even putting it on TV. So content is always going to be number one focus for me, and something I noticed in the past is Trio videos and Trio streams just don't do the same as my solo videos. And so obviously I want to make the stuff that you guys want to see, and I know some people have been asking a lot for Trio FNCS videos, but I'm taking one more season off, and let me explain. Over the last season, just focusing on solos, focusing on my own improvement in cash cups went so well. We saw a major increase in my placements and the views. I typically average around like 200 views on Twitch, and in the solo cash cup, I peaked at 800 viewers in my last game. On top of that, my solo cash cup videos have been doing so well, simply because I took time, really practiced, and because I took off trios, I had time to really focus in on solos. So we saw those improvements. I know a lot of you guys are in school and you probably don't have the most time on Fortnite. And it's pretty similar to the fact that I do content creation full time. I don't have all the time in the world to practice solos and trios. So taking that one season to just focus on solos alone helped me improve a ton. And so here's one way that I've been looking at my competitive career, and you might want to as well. Taking 1 or 2 seasons to just focus on solos is kind of like sacrificing the tournament season because solos really doesn't have that much prize pool. But solos is one of the most important fundamental game modes in the game. If you improve in solos and you start placing at the top, that could mean that you might find better teammates in future FNCS events. You'll get on the pro radar or just on the radar of better players, and you'll have a better chance of succeeding in FNCS in the long run. So last season, I improved my placements from like around 1,000 on average to around 150 on average, which is a major improvement. But I think I can get even higher up. So I'm taking this next season to focus on solos alone, and hopefully I'll be able to get to top 50 average placements and maybe even place like top 10 in a couple events. If I can do that, that would mean big exposure. For one, my YouTube content, the tutorials, would gain so much credibility that a lot of new people would start watching. But 2, I would also gain exposure to the pro scene, and I might be a potential recruit eventually for some of these top players. Something else I'm keeping on mind is that Trio FNCS is only one more season that we know of. You know, they announced Trio FNCS was going to be this entire year, and next year they're going to announce a whole new tournament system. We can hope. So, if it's potentially solos all next year, by taking these last 2 seasons for solo practice alone, I'll be so ready. But even if it's announced as duos or trios for next year, it would have still been worth it because I learned so much about the game by grinding solos. I improved my mechanics, I improved my game sense, and so I think I'll be ready to really perform in a duo or trio FNCS. One way to look at it is, say basketball. You gotta really practice your mechanics in your off time, your dribbling, your shooting, but the thing is, Fortnite doesn't have as much off time as you would in basketball. You know, you have one game a week, and in between games you go to practices all the time. But if you're playing trio FNCS, you're going to want to practice with your trio every single day. And if you have too much stuff going on in between trio practices and trio FNCS, you're not going to have that same amount of time to really focus in on improving your mechanics, improving your aim, all that stuff if you have school, content creation, and other activities in the meantime. So by taking off a season, that gives you time to really build those fundamentals. Learning how to play solos is pretty much like riding a bike. Once you do it and you can start placing at the top, it doesn't take as much practice to stay up there. That's how pros who practice trios all day long are able to still place in solo cash cups. It's because they have that previous experience, which I didn't have personally. I never placed at the top in solo events, and so taking all my time to focus on trios will never give me the chance to catch up in solos. You see what I'm saying? So I think you can start to understand why I'm taking off trios. I really want you guys to understand it because some people are really upset that I'm not playing trio FNCS. It's for the greater good, the long-term success. That's why I'm not playing. Needless to say, I'm still going to have fire content coming to you guys on the daily. Content will always be my #1 priority. Helping you guys improve and keeping you guys entertained, keeping you motivated to grind, that is my #1 goal. My #2 goal is improving as a competitive player. So I'm trying to find the line to, improve my comp career and my content career at the same time, and I think this is the way. If all goes according to plan, then by the end of this season, I should be at the level to start really performing in FNCS and solo events. So that means when they announce the new competitive format for next year, I'm going all in, and the content is going to become much, much more serious and competitive based. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to that. I'm really hoping we're going to be there for next year. But let me tell you guys what's on the plan for this season. For one, I'm going to keep the tutorials coming, lots of fighting tutorials. We're going to add more scrim content to the mix, because I'm going to be running a lot of scrims, so I might as well teach you guys what I learned. Obviously, we're going to have the solo cash cup content because that's my main focus this season. I'm hoping to have more high ground retake videos because you guys always seem to like those. And then I'm going to try to add some more beginner guides to the mix. Something that's wrong with a lot of the content in Fortnite is that it's so catered to the advanced players. And I noticed that in my own content. I looked back in the day at the content that blew me up, and it was much more beginner based. So I'm thinking about trying to get more beginner content in the mix to try to encourage more new players to come to Fortnite. And if that content does well, that could mean a lot of new players are going to start playing competitively, and hopefully the numbers will go up for Fortnite and we'll see bigger prize pools. Who knows? But that's my plan for content, so let me know what you guys think of that. Maybe there's some content that you really want to see that I didn't list off there. So let me know if you guys have any video ideas that you really want to see. Anyways guys, hopefully that reasoning makes sense to you. If I get better at the game, that means the tutorials get better, and that means you guys get better. You feel? It's all for the greater good. Also, don't forget daily streams on Twitch. I'm going to try to keep them going for as long as I can, maybe through the entire season. We'll see. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, maybe learned something new. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, sub if you're new, use code JivanTV, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.